Hey guys, how you doing? Trevor Devall here. Welcome back to another episode of Mailbag, a little series where I talk about supplements or game systems or what have you that people send me to have a look at. It's not really a review show, more of just like an appreciation show of thanks for sending me stuff and I want to talk about it. So today we have a very interesting game that was sent to me. Not really a role-playing game exactly, but not a board game or anything. It's sort of like Choose Your Own Adventure meets Darkest Dungeons, you know, that video game. And if you don't, you should check it out. It's pretty hilarious. This game is called Marching Order. You play it using two different books. You've got your Delver, or your Rogue's Handbook and your Delver's Guide here. Your Rogue's Handbook is all the rules you need, and the Delver's Guide is the Choose Your Own Adventure part. This is the actual adventure stuff in here. They've also sent me Crumbling Keep Games. Crumbling Keep LLC, that's the name of the company that sent me this, or that makes this game. Master of the Onyx Tower. They just sent me, there's a brand new adventure they have. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but just flipping through it looks pretty cool. So here's what's neat about this. As I said, it's a solo game. It doesn't have to be. You can play it with other people if you want, but it's kind of, you know, solo or co-op. It says right there on the cover. And speaking of covers, what I think is absolutely hilarious about this is on the Rogue's Handbook, you've got the POV of the adventurers, and you can see the goblins in the tunnel. And then on the Delver's Guide, you have the exact opposite POV. Now you can see the adventures from the perspective of the goblins. I think that was a nice little touch. So here's the thing about this game. It is a game you play with cards, not like playing cards, but cards that they give you. Cards represent your characters. And a la the video game Darkest Dungeons, you have up to, I think, 4 people in your party. And you recruit them in the town of Rot Bottom, I think it's called. And you go into various dungeons and you try and not get killed, or run out of torches, or run out of food, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's real grim, old school dungeon crawly kind of stuff. You line up those cards when you have an encounter, and the order you're in is actually very important because the order you're in determines who can attack. Some people have hand-to-hand combat, so they can only really attack the enemy, the enemies who are in like the first 2 ranks, basically, because you've got the enemies also typically in groups of 4 on the other side of the sort of combat line there. But if you have a ranged weapon or something, you might be able to attack from behind. So if you're in position 3 or 4, you could attack from behind. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. But the neat thing is that you go through, and every time you go into a different room, you have various things that happen. Sometimes you have to mark off torches because light is a big thing in this thing. If you run out of light, you're done. You got to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. Which, you know, I really like that. It's sort of a built-in timer which keeps the tension high. If there's a monster, you got to fight the monster, or if there's you might choose to search for traps or search the room, or there's all kinds of stuff. Just like the old Choose Your Own Adventures, you know, they'll say, well, if there's the door in this room, if you examine the door, turn to entry G, or if you search behind the statue, turn to entry F, or whatever the case is, and you just kind of go through it and play it out. So it's a lot of fun. It's very simple. It's, you know, nice and visual because you've got the cards in front of you like that. It doesn't have a tremendous amount of replayability because once you kind of win the scenario, well, then you kind of know how to win the scenario if you play it again because you know the correct path to take. But that said, you can go through and try different things just to kind of, you know, if you're a completionist like me, if you want to go through and see all the things that the adventure has to offer, you can do that. But not, other than that, not huge on the replayability because the adventures themselves, there's no random elements to it. It's all based on the books that you get or the adventures you have in the book. And maybe there is a way to randomize that. I mean, I'm sure there's always a way to randomize that to sort of increase replayability. But as it stands, right now, as it is right now, it's just basically the adventure. Now, the good thing is the Delver's Guide has a number of adventures in it already. It's not just one. I think they've got four different adventures in the Delver's Guide that comes with the game. And then there's the Master of the Onyx Tower, which is, I think it's just one adventure, but it's a long one. It's this entire book right here that's completely dedicated to this one adventure. So, you know, it could take you some time. And it's also, it's pretty hard, right? Like, it's very brutal. These are not epic heroes. They're not D&D 5e characters. They are old school D&D characters. They're like first level characters. So they're probably not going to make it very far. And if they do, If you get out in time and get the loot and all that kind of stuff, then A, you've beat the scenario and you can pat yourself on the back. But also you can go back to the town and you can train, or you could hire new people, or, try and resurrect people that got killed, or all that kind of stuff. So it's very dungeon delvey, old school D&D in terms of its feel. Mechanics, super, super, super simple. You roll the d6, you add your stat against the defense. If you win, you do your damage. It's very simple. Within the encounter, it's kind of neat because monsters will do random things based on a chart that they have, so you never know what the monsters are going to do. Also, weird things called bullshit can come up at the end of every round, which could trigger some of your flaws or anything like that. And it just adds interesting random events into the encounters, so that's really cool. All in all, kind of a neat way to spend an evening going through a solo dungeon crawl. Lots of fun. So check it out if you're interested. The link to the Crumbling Keep website and all of the stuff will be below, as well as links to all the other supplements I use on various other series I do here on this channel. So thanks for joining me. If you want to help support the show, please do hit like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. If you really want to help support the show, you can do so on Patreon or buy some merch on our store, or whatever the case is. It's all handmade. It's good quality stuff. Thanks for joining me. I will see you again on the next episode of Mailbag.